Hello students, welcome to the first part of lesson 2-3 where we're going to be talking about the point of graphing. So this video is really just to talk about why in the world do graphs exist. And so I'm going to introduce this topic by looking at this table of data that you see here. You see that there's a title, and this is saying that we are looking at the average annual unemployment rates from 1992 to 2011. And there's a whole bunch of information here. I can see that I'm looking at years, I'm looking at several different years. I also see that I'm looking at rate, and it tells me that it is in the form of percent. We see tables like this on an everyday basis when you open up the newspaper, when you're scrolling on your social media accounts, when you're looking at various websites. We see tables everywhere we go. And the whole point of tables are to display information, but it also gives us an idea of possibly what is going on. And so in this particular example, I want to be able to look at this table and talk about, all right, what was unemployment looking like? You know, what can I glean from the employment rates from 92 to 2011? Were they going up? Were they going down? Was the situation good? Was the situation bad? That is what I'm trying to figure out when I am looking at a table. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that I would glean information better from visual representation, because when I look at all of this data, it's a little overwhelming. I can kind of see my numbers are going down. It looks like they went up and then they went down again. And then there's this big jump from 2008 to 2009. So if you were to ask me, you know, what can you tell me? I would just say, well, it looks like unemployment rates really were fluctuating a lot. I don't really notice any pattern right off the bat or anything like that. But if I move on and I put this on a graph and now have this visual representation, the data becomes more meaningful to me. I can see that there was a pretty steady decline from 1992 until 2000, and then after that it started going up. So it looked like we were doing good. The unemployment rate was going down, and then something happened in 2000 where it started going up. It looks like to 2003, and then we were doing good from 2003 until maybe about 2006, where rates were going down. And then I don't know what happened from 2008 to about 2010, because it looks like unemployment rates skyrocketed. And so being able to see that, I start thinking, okay, what was the economy like? What was possibly going on? What could have caused that unemployment rate to skyrocket as it did? I also notice on this graph that there is this point over here. I'm going to circle it. And this is representing 2012. And I'm kind of wondering, all right, why is that not attached to the graph? You know, there's the line going through all the points. Why is that one not attached? Well, notice the year is 2012. But earlier we said that the data was only representing 1992 to 2011. So I don't want to connect that, because that's just extra information. That's an extra piece of information. With that being said, the last thing I want to introduce you to is the formal vocabulary, math vocab word of what we're doing, and this is called a scatter plot. And you see that here in this example, I've started with a table, and there's different values. There's the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there are the costs. And I've went ahead and graphed this over here on something that I call a scatter plot. Excuse my handwriting, my pen is dead. I'm waiting on it to charge, but a scatter plot. And so a scatter plot is a way for me to graphically represent the data that I am trying to display. There are some things that I want to mention really quickly, and I'm going to use the other plot to mention these things. Things that are very important to have on a graph. You need a title. I need to know what we're talking about. I also need axes titles, because I need to know, you know, what are those representing? Am I talking about 2 people, 200, 2,000? No, I'm talking about 2%. So that lets me know what we're referencing. Also notice my increments are increasing by 2 years, and that's steady all across. Same thing on my y-axis, I'm increasing by 2%, and that's consistent throughout that axis. That is important to have your consistent increments. You don't want to go from, you know, 0 to 1 and then to 10. That's a huge jump. What happened to everything in between? So you want to remain consistent. Your consistent can be any type of interval you want. If you want to increase by 1 year or by 1%, or you want to do 0.5%. The idea is that you want to remain consistent throughout. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next section. But hopefully this gave you a good idea of why graphs are important.